Good evening and welcome to our 2021 celebration of Transgender Day of Visibility. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ashley Shade. I am the chairwoman of Outright Libertarians, the chair of the Massachusetts Libertarian Party, and a candidate for North Adams City Council. And I am also a very proud transgender woman. We're here tonight to celebrate all of those who are transgender and gender nonconforming and non-binary, and those who prefer not to identify with any gender at all. We're here to raise awareness for the transgender community. We're here to raise awareness for transgender issues and the experiences that trans people face. And I have a lovely slate of guests here tonight that are joining me, who will be talking about their experience as both transgender people and as allies. And we will be discussing several different topics this evening to bring awareness to the community and the issues that the community faces. I'd like to start the evening off, however, by bringing up visibility and what that means. And here in my local community, I've been able to make things very visible. As a candidate for office, I'm a very visible and public figure. And I've been able to work with our local city governments to ensure that transgender identities are respected and that they are represented. And so I want to share with you two proclamations from the city of North Adams and the city of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. These proclamations are from the biggest cities in my county, Berkshire County, Massachusetts, and they go to show the work that's being done for the transgender community. So the first proclamation is a proclamation acknowledging Transgender Day of Visibility on March 31st, 2021. Whereas the city of North Adams, Massachusetts strives to be a safe and inclusive community for all residents and visitors. And whereas March 31st, 2021 will mark the 12th annual International Transgender Day of Visibility, an event that celebrates the resilience and success of transgender and gender nonconforming people, and raises awareness of transgender rights. And whereas International Transgender Day of Visibility is a time to celebrate transgender and non-binary people in the North Adams and Berkshire County community and around the globe, and to acknowledge the courage it takes to live openly and authentically. And whereas in a 2020 statement, Alfonso David, president of the Human Rights Campaign, said, "As we celebrate Transgender Day of Visibility, we must never forget those who still feel invisible, even in their own communities, and who may live every day with the fear of discrimination or violence. And we must resolve to fight for a world where every transgender and non-binary person is respected and protected. Now, therefore, Thomas W. Bernard, he, him pronouns, Mayor of the City of North Adams, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2021, as Transgender Day of Visibility in the city of North Adams, and call upon residents to honor and celebrate the achievements and contributions of transgender people, locally and globally, to recommit strongly to trans inclusion at all levels, to provide support to people who are trans and gender expansive, and to their families and friends, and to advocate at all levels of government for protections of transgender people." Signed, Mayor Thomas W. Bernard of North Adams. Before I read the next proclamation, I do want to say thank you so much to the Vermin Supreme Institute, which I am a member of the council, and Vermin Supreme for live streaming this event and helping us share this event with the world. We are currently broadcasting now on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and we are broadcast on the Outright Libertarians page, on the Vermin Supreme Institute page, on Vermin Supreme's YouTube channel, and on all of my personal social media, Ashley Shade and at Ashley Shade Office. Really excited to bring it to you live from so many different places and streams. Thank you all for joining us. I want to read the next proclamation, and then our first person that's going to be joining us this evening. So the next proclamation was from the city of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, where I live. I'm honored to say that I was able to help write the language for this proclamation. and I'm proud to share it with you this evening. So I was able to help put the language together. It's a beautiful proclamation, well done. The language was put together from proclamations from around the United States, and I'm happy to share it with you. So, the City of Pittsfield Proclamation. Whereas more than 1 million Americans are transgender and have bravely overcome significant hardships to build vibrant and thriving communities, often in the face of systematic and interpersonal prejudice, discrimination, and violence. We cannot simply celebrate visibility without also recognizing that it does not always equal justice. Still, far too many trans people, in particular trans women of color, continue to face profound threats to their safety and well being. And whereas we also celebrate the beauty and resilience of trans people through history and of those who are with us today, and we recognize that trans people have contributed and continue to contribute in a myriad of ways to the betterment of our society and our city, often working at the forefront of social justice and human activism rights work. And whereas trans and gender nonconforming Americans have made profound strides in challenging social and political norms that they had forced many to live in secrecy regarding their gender identity, sentenced them to corrosive medical and psychological treatments, and denied them employment and housing opportunities. And whereas civil rights victories won by trans activists have expanded judicial recognition of constitutional protections for gender identity and expression, and provided a greater number of people with the basic protections needed to ensure human dignity and self determination. However, these rights are still not universally guaranteed, with laws varying by state and locality, and regressive measures still being pursued. As a result of determined activism and advocacy, trans people now serve as religious and educational leaders, reach the highest levels of athletic competition, star in film and television, and serve in prominent government positions, beginning to reverse many years of tragic exclusion. And whereas across the country, trans people have courageously and powerfully organized in response to hate crimes and violence that have been directed at members of their community, especially at trans women of color, nonetheless receiving insufficient mainstream coverage and recognition. And whereas we recognize and celebrate the work that is being done by the trans advocacy groups to continue to fight for dignity and equal rights for members of the trans community, to build inclusive and healing spaces, and to protect and defend those who are most vulnerable, including people with disabilities and in prison. And whereas in Pittsfield, we believe in the inherent value of each and every resident of our city, including and especially our trans and gender nonconforming residents, without exception. Therefore, Linda M. Tyler, Mayor of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, does hereby proclaim March 31st, 2021, as Transgender Day of Visibility. Again, I'm really excited that I was able to work with local governments and people to put this together, to put these proclamations together, to help understand that the rights of transgender people are important. And with that said, I'd like to bring on one of our first guests this evening. I'd like to introduce you to a fellow member of Outright Libertarians and one of our deputy directors in outreach. Hello, welcome, Ari Gabrek. Ari, how are you this evening? Thank you for coming and joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ashley. It's wonderful to be here today.
Excellent. I'm really glad you were able to join us and talk to the community today. Please feel free to introduce yourself, tell the community a little about your story and why this day is so important to you.
So I actually ended up coming about only a few months ago, just last year. I have been a part of the libertarian community and the Libertarian Party for the last about decade and a half. And this was my first foray into political activism. Outright had been an important portion of my life prior to that. And to be able to be part of it now has been amazing. I am a transgender, transmasculine, gender nonconforming person. And for myself, this is all very brand new. It's my first time having this sort of visibility. And I'm so thankful for, these sorts of platforms to be able to kind of talk about different things and outright as a home for myself. Just the wonderful acceptingness of the majority of the Libertarian Party, of everybody who's ended up posting, and especially of the communities that I've been connected to through mutual aid and a whole bunch of different stuff. Outside of my work here with Outright Libertarian as Deputy Director of Outreach, my social media work here with Outright, I also run my own non-for-profit as well called the Trans Resource Network of Louisiana, and it's a mutual aid-based group. And the importance of mutual aid, especially within the trans community, can't be understated. Mutual aid has really helped so many different people within the TGNC community to be able to get the goods and services, to be able to get rides, to be able to obtain health care. And it's through these local direct actions that we're really positively able to bring about some positive social changes. So today is important not just for myself, but for so many different people. This visibility, thankfully, we're really able to press forward with, and to be here as transgender individuals, to show the benefits of us being in society, of us being part of day-to-day life of everybody. So, thank you, Ashley, for having me on. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is going to be a really great night, and I look forward to seeing everybody who ends up coming on and any of the questions or things that might be asked.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ari, for that wonderful introduction. We're going to have a great night tonight. We've got a lot of great panelists, and we're going to introduce our next panelist. I'm going to bring Freya to the screen. Hello, Freya.
Hello.
How are you?
I am okay. Suffering with a sprained ankle right now, but other than that, all good.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you have a sprained ankle, but I'm glad that hasn't stopped you from joining us this evening.
It was worth it. I bought a new V-Rod.
Excellent. Well, would you please introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are?
All right. I'm Freya Hassenmeyer. I'm here in Northeast PA, contemplating a run for constable. Yeah, I'm a trans woman. I lived 38 years my old life. It was a nightmare, just being miserable. And the past 3-4 years have been amazing. I didn't know this kind of happiness was possible, like, at all. I just was content, not content, but settled on living that misery my whole life, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. And people in that situation need to know it's okay. You don't need to be afraid. I mean, you're going to be afraid, but it's worth it to just be yourself. Stop hiding. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big talker, but that's what I had to have to say.
Excellent. Well, again, welcome and thank you so much for joining us here. We're really happy and excited to have you with us. Next up, I'd like to introduce and welcome our friend from Arizona, also known as Arizona. Hi, Arizona. Welcome.
Hi. I'm Arizona of Phoenix, Arizona. It's as simple as that. That's what I go by. I work with the Spike Cohen and Vermin Supreme social media teams under my friend and mentor, Caitlin Cloven. I am a non-binary individual. I have been probably more publicly out about that for probably about a year. It's been very interesting seeing that in libertarian spaces. It's not always the most friendly place, but it's hopefully something we can improve. And the Day of Visibility to me is more about what it represents, like possibilities going forward as people get more and more like used to seeing trans individuals and seeing it as we show people that, hey, we're no different than you, we have all the same rights as you, we just want to be treated no differently than anybody else. It's just going to take a little bit of time, unfortunately, but I feel like with every one of these days, it represents the promise of a better future, and I'm really looking forward to a day when we don't have to worry about this anymore.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, and thank you so much for that. And finally, we're going to introduce our last guest. She is an ally to the community, and we wanted to have a perspective from somebody who understands the issues from a different point of view. So please welcome Mercedes, or Mercy, to the
Hello.
program. Hi,
Hello.
Mercy.
Thank you for having me. I actually almost missed my interest because I had to grab a tissue because this issue is super important to me because my sister is transgender and I'm the oldest. And I live in the middle of Nebraska. And please don't leave me alone on screen. God bless America. Hi, Vermin. This is Vermin. He's my emotional support doll because this is a hard topic, especially as an ally, because it's hi, I love you. Because it's our lives we're talking about, and anytime you're talking about your belief system, your life, you get passionate about it. And hi, Jared. So as an ally, and being the eldest, I was born in '90. I'm in the middle of Nebraska. I'm in Kearney. I'm in a purple district. I ran for office last year. I'm bisexual, but now that more information's coming out, it's more non-binary, non-gender conforming, masculine presenting because I'm a female welder. But I live in a very conservative place, which means that I don't. If I want to be who I am, I will always fight for that. I am. Oh, hi, Odie. I have to fight for who I am. I being just a female welder, just being a non-gender conforming person. I have to fight for my own beliefs, and add being mixed race on top of that. It shouldn't be an issue, but it is. I'm lucky being the eldest. My mom is Gen X, had me young. She's an anarchist. I grew up knowing who Vermin was. I grew up being enabled to be a rebel and fight for what I believe in and stand up for other people and their rights and their beliefs, no matter what. So when my sister was young, we knew she was different, as most of these stories go, because she wanted to be Veronica. She didn't choose Veronica as her name. She kept her name because my mother named her Erin. I've had to fight for Erin's right to be different her entire life. And it's emotional because I've seen everything. I've watched everything. I've had to be an opinion and help her decide who she is. I'm 30 years old and she's my baby sister. And helping her find her femininity and find her place in this world, in this community, in our own family has been heartbreaking because belief systems were challenged. And yep, so because those belief systems were challenged in my own family, we had to have these open conversations about being different and not conforming to who we are, that our family wants us to be, because the world is the way it is right now. I was raised not to live in the world I was raised in, but to live in the world that we are in right now. And that world is not beautiful. It is not peaceful. It is not easy. It is hard. There were an amazing group of elders that saw us when we were children and knew what was coming and enabled us. And Vermin's one of those elders, even if he doesn't want to be called an elder. Sorry. But they saw that and they enabled us kids, us second, third generation libertarians, now anarchists in my case, because fuck the state, to be who we wanted to be because they saw what was happening. They were there at the Vietnam protests during the last race war in the 60s. They knew that it wasn't done then and that this was going to happen. And because of that, we are able to have these conversations. So like when my sister started questioning her sexual identity, I was right there with her because I was that girl in high school that was holding hands with other girls in the hallway because it triggered the senior class. Like, Betsy Hinkle, we skipped down senior hallway our freshman year because it pissed them off. I'm sorry I held a girl's hand. Like, have you ever held a girl's hand? It's pretty fucking nice. So unfortunately, our story's not over. At Christmas, I got into a fight with my biological father. We have different fathers because he felt threatened by her identity because what I've found in my journey, because being an ally, I'm less visible. I get to be less visible. I have that privilege of being able to blend in and hide. And because of that, I get to go places that other people don't get to go and have these hard conversations with people I would rather just shoot. Because we don't argue with people that John Brown would have shot for our own mental health and our own peace. So we don't violate the NAP.
Well, Mercy, thank you so much for that wonderful story and being such a wonderful ally and big sister. And tonight is all about visibility. Tonight is all about love. Tonight is all about celebration. But it's also about having those difficult conversations too and raising awareness to the issues that still affect transgender people and the lives of transgender people here in the United States. Things that you wouldn't think of, things that you wouldn't think could be possible in the United States. There are currently more than half of our states in the United States have legislation that's been proposed or is being worked on or is in the process of being passed or has been passed. Legislation that restricts transgender people from living their lives how they choose, that restricts transgender people from being who they are, and not allowing them to be people, essentially. And basically saying that transgender people don't belong in our society is what these laws break down to. So I'd like to go around the panel and hear everybody's thoughts. Tell us about this topic. What is it like in your area, and what do we need to do more of to raise awareness for it? And I want to start, we're going to go around as we introduce everybody. So I'll start with Ari. Please go ahead and talk to everybody.
So while looking over things for Outright, I've been putting together and looking at some of these different bills that are coming up in different legislatures. There are 86 bills throughout the United States that are against people of trans experience. Just here in Louisiana, they're trying to make it illegal to let teens and adolescents have access to hormone therapies, to puberty blockers. The state is trying to even put in a gag order for doctors so that they can't even talk about transgender issues to the youth here in Louisiana. And prior to even this, there was a legislator here in Louisiana who also tried to be able to deny the right of transgender individuals to be able to have access to firearms. And it's slowly getting better. Our mayor is doing at least a fairly decent job. here in Louisiana, we're pressing to be able to make it so that individuals who are transgender don't have some of the obstacles through different insurances. You have to wait up to a year before you're able to actually get gender confirmation surgeries, and the hoops that you have to jump through to be able to go and be your authentic self here, are so overburdening us. One thing in particular is I'm going through right now trying to be able to get my name changed. And we are one of the higher rates for name changes in the United States. And to be able to go and get a gender marker change here in Louisiana as well, you have to have the complete gender confirmation surgeries in total to be able to go and get your gender marker changed. So yeah, it's an uphill battle. It's not going to be easy, but the best way to be able to go and help is if you're from Louisiana or if you're even from the surrounding area, call the legislature, call the different call your senators, call the people who try to be able to get these things changed, because we had direct action that we did. We had this huge write-in campaign that ended up decreasing the amount that you paid for a name change in Orleans Parish. It used to be over $500 to be able to get your name changed. Now it's still horrible, but it's at least not $500 horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that, Ari. Those are great points. I'm sorry that the struggle is so difficult there down in Louisiana. And this is exactly why we need to raise awareness about this and what's happening in all of our states, because it's important that people know what's happening. People are not allowed to be who they are because the government is infringing upon their rights and saying, you don't get to be who you want to be. We're going to make it cost prohibitive. We're going to say that your doctors and medical providers' opinions don't even matter. You have to do all this other stuff, or you're not who you say you are. And that is absolutely absurd. So I wanted to move over to Freya. Would you like to tell us about your experience where you are in your state and community, and what are things like there?
Well, overall, Pennsylvania is not as bad as many states. We still have a long way to go. But we did just get last year get it easier to change your gender marker on your driver's license. However, it can cost close to $1,000 to change your name. The 500 of that is just court fees and nonsense, and you need a lawyer to do it. So there's another 500. So yeah, still things to work on. It's a long road, and you got to just keep bugging the goddamn government because nothing's going to change if you just sit down and do nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, absolutely nothing changes unless you take action. And we need our allies to stand up and take action with us.
Yeah, keep poking the bear.
Yeah, that is a huge part of it. We can't do it all on our own. You said you're from Pennsylvania. Yes, we have a puppy joining us tonight.
Sorry,
Mercy,
this is Nemesis. She's the official libertarian vice presidential puppy, actually. This is a special puppy. And she's pregnant.
Oh, congratulations, Nappy. Puppies.
PSA, spay and neuter your pets.
I completely concur.
As the wonderful Bob Barker used to say, have your pets sprayed and neutered. But Freya, I wanted to go back and ask you. You said you're in Pennsylvania. That the laws on name changes are difficult there. What are things like in your local community where you live? What are things like for trans people in that community?
Well, I'm the only one. It's a very, very backwoods where I am. um, so yeah, I'm the only one that I know of, anyways. That without going 45 minutes in any direction. But honestly, most people here are great. There's a handful of jerks that you're gonna get anywhere. Um, you know, once they got to know me, and they were all great. I really can't complain about the people of this community. They've been very supportive.
That's wonderful. And it's great to have a supporting community, especially in a rural area. As you said, it's kind of a lot of backwoods and a little isolated from everybody else. So it's great that you
Yeah,
have
I
a.
mean, like it's one of them communities where you might be looked down on if you're from the city, but trans, you're from the country, so it's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
It's because you're one of
kind of
them.
the impression I got.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay. I understand. Well, so next, Arizona. What are things like where you live? How are things in Arizona?
Okay, so I live in Phoenix, which is probably going to be a lot different than a lot of rural parts of Arizona. I generally like I spend a lot of time in I would say a community that's a lot more accepting than probably the average bunch of people in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been part of a roller derby league for close to I want to say like 7 or 8 years now, and these are some of the most accepting and wonderful women. They're an inspiration. It's like a second family to me, and they're super supportive. Although I haven't really come out until COVID, that none of them even knew, but I've been very supported, and people are very understanding. I'm very I'm very happy for that, and I'm very blessed to have that. Um, as far as like legislation and stuff in my area, like I said, obviously the city of Phoenix and the Phoenix metro area, it's going to be a lot, a lot more progressive than say, you know, rural Arizona or northern Arizona or anything like that. But I've pretty much kind of limited uh, my activism has pretty much mainly been focused on police reform. So I haven't really spent a lot of time in the ring here locally for trans issues because a lot of this is still really new to me. I'm still learning all the ropes. But I would say Phoenix, by and large, is not that bad. You're always going to have people that are going to be very backwards thinking, and we have a lot of work to do with that. But this city, I would guess is it's probably on par with like Los Angeles. It's not excessively bad, I would say.
That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear things are well in Phoenix. And I know Arizona is one of those states where some of these restrictions that we were talking about, some of these laws are being proposed. Same thing with Louisiana. I'm not sure if Pennsylvania is on the list, but I would not be surprised if it is. I know for sure in Mercy's home state of Nebraska, there is legislation on the books. And so, Marcy, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in Nebraska when it comes to transgender rights and transgender uh,
Uh,
legislation?
so I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound horrible because I don't actually know at this very second because of all the things that are being moved around right now. I know that they are pushing for protections. I know I just Googled it and Wikipedia'd it to make sure that I'm not a complete doofus because I thought this is what was going on, but my sister moved to Georgia. When she got safe, I kind of decided to take just a little step back. So right now, Omaha and Lincoln are the city propers because they're the urban areas of Nebraska. They're for transgender rights and equality. We are passing legislation. The dots on the map say that there are protections in the state already. We did pass same-sex marriage, marriage, a few years ago. So right now it's just Nebraska. It's super divided, and it's not healthy, and our community is not healthy because it's not healthy, and people are just trying to survive. And it doesn't sound very good. But that's where we are right now, with mental health and criminalization of drugs and the straight out hate that people. Yeah. Here's the positive side to this shit sandwich. Sorry, I cussed, but it's a shit sandwich. I ran for legislation in Nebraska. I lost, which is fine because now I get to keep being an activist. But fortunately, out in the urban areas, we have amazing state legislators that are doing what needs to be done to fight this battle. Nebraska's government's moving. They're doing things. They're trying to pass bills. They are literally calling the governor racist on the floor. I mean, we are raising hell here. The allies that I have, that I know, we are making people clutch pearls and oh my god, they said gay sex. And it's 2021. We're not a third world country, and I'd really like to see it. Yes, Megan, Jared, I'm looking pre-comments. Oh yeah, there are some real good state legislatures. Like Ernie Chambers may be gone, but his spirit lives on in the unicameral. Yes, that's a report from Nebraska. It sucks here. I'm glad my sister moved. Sorry.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And I can definitely understand things are a little difficult, but you did bring something up I think we should take a little deeper dive into. So in the comments, I'm going to ask the people a question. I'm going to ask the panelists a question. If they could answer this question, we're going to bring it up on the screen. So the question is your state a shit sandwich?
My city isn't. My city is amazing. My state, not so much.
Is your state a shit sandwich? Give us a yes or a no and give us a reason why. Ari, go ahead. Take this one first. When it comes to transgender issues, is your state a shit sandwich?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Freya?
My local community's been great, but the state, not really doing much of anything. So, yeah.
Okay. Arizona?
Oh, sorry. What was the question?
The question is your state a shit sandwich when it comes to trans rights?
I don't know. I would say that
Arizona
the entire United States is a shit sandwich when it comes to that. To what degree that my state is a shit sandwich, I couldn't say versus the rest.
Honestly, I would say Arizona probably is the least shit sandwichy state because of area. Wait, where's Area 51? Is that in Arizona or Utah?
Nevada.
That is Nevada.
See, look, I don't even know. So there you go, aliens.
And I'm here in Massachusetts, and I would say we're not a shit sandwich, but we still have a lot of work to do here, even in Massachusetts. I mean, just a couple of years ago, they put on the ballot an initiative that got enough signatures to go on the ballot to try to repeal anti-discrimination laws against transgender people. It failed, but the fact that it even got on the ballot is an issue. And so even here in what many would call liberal Massachusetts, it is still very difficult to be transgender in this world, in this country. And it is still seen as obscene in many places. So the next question I want to ask tonight is, this is a chance for you to brag, okay? And this one is going to be for our other trans people specifically. So, Mercy, I'm going to have you out on this one. But this is about visibility. It's about
I don't
raising
like bragging
awareness.
anyway, so thank you.
It's all good. I will have you brag on your sister after, though. So we'll come back to that. But first, the three of you here, tell us, what are you doing in your communities? What do you do currently? What work do you do? How are you helping the community? What is important to you? And what work are you currently doing to contribute to awareness and helping change some of these terrible things? And I'm going to go in reverse order this time, so I'm going to have Arizona start.
As far as what I do is I don't do much locally. I am more nationally focused in that I work on social media campaigns for both Vermin and Spike Cohen. As mentioned, I work with the fantastic Caitlin Cloven, and we're trying to push issues like this to the forefront and try to introduce more people to our way of thinking, the libertarian perspective on things, and especially our perspective on human rights and trans rights. And it's a team effort, but I feel like we've made some great inroads, and we made a very big post today. It blew up, and hopefully people will see that and they'll start to think, and gears start turning in people's heads, and they start changing their minds. That's the best I can hope for.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Arizona. And thank you for everything that you do and are doing to help raise awareness for the community. Every little bit helps. Everything is so important that we raise awareness to these issues. Freya, what work do you currently do? What kind of advocacy are you currently involved in? And what do you want to do next?
What work do I do?
I heard you say something about running for office.
That's all I do. I'm out there. I'm loud. I have my business. I go around. I'm in restaurants and every day, and I'm just out there and make sure everyone sees me in a town where no one's seen anything like this before. Like I said, I am contemplating a run for constable. I don't know. There's some costs I didn't expect when I started looking into it. Like I said, I'm just out there, and I show people we're real. We're not just something off the news to be scared of. And I've changed. I see people change their minds after they get to know me. It's pretty awesome. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And Freya, that's amazing. And it is just sometimes the work is just being out in your community and being a real person and showing people that the trans community is nobody to be afraid of. We're human beings too. So we have Desiree here with a comment, and she definitely wants to have some drinks with you and meet you and hang out. Desiree is a wonderful person and an ally.
Yeah, Desiree, we've been friends on Facebook a while. Anytime, girl.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm so grateful again to you for being visible in your community, especially when you're, as you said, kind of alone out there, that you're kind of the only one. And so for me, that takes a lot of courage. And I want to thank you so much for being willing to do that and take that steps and show other people that it's okay to be who you are.
There is stuff, like I said, every town's about 45 minutes away. There's stuff in there, out there, like down in Milford. Once in a while I'll go to.
Excuse me. You're the vice chair of your county Libertarian affiliate, and you didn't say that yet.
Oh, you're holding out at
that.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam, for outing her. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows that you're a vice chair and a libertarian. I'm sorry.
That was me once.
I should just have Adam do all the talking for me. He's much better at it.
I was just gonna say he's really good at it. So Sorry, I think we're all reading at the same time. I know it's
Yeah.
trite to say I have a trans friend, but reality is there any better tool to becoming an activist than knowing and loving someone whose life is in the balance?
Absolutely beautifully said, Hody.
Moral.
Ari, would you like to tell us about what you're doing and what you're up to and things that are going on for you?
So I'm actually the co-founder of a non-for-profit here in New Orleans called the Trans Resource Network of Louisiana. And it started because I couldn't find a ride to get to my appointment for my top surgery or for my consult for my top surgery. And we've now in the last, we've existed now for 8 months. And in the last 8 months, we've been able to find housing for 7 people. We've helped with job placement. We've given rides to, in the last 3 months, 15 people, as well as connected them to goods and services. And we just had our very first arts and crafts raffle here in the greater New Orleans area. And there's a lot of planning in the works. We are working with a woman out in Belchase, just outside of New Orleans, to open a trans affirmative clothing closet where people can come and get gender affirming clothing, as well as things like shapewear, like gaff underwear and chest binders, and get coordinated services through our mutual aid network here on Discord. And there's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about. We are looking at expanding ourselves a little bit, and we are in the works of starting to get more of a staff. We've applied for different grants to be able to go and hire a staff. We are trans and non-binary led, and the majority of us are either from or historically have lived in New Orleans for at least a few generations. And it's people helping people. And thanks, Des. It's just because there's nothing here. Like we have a few organizations, but they're limited in the scope of the work that they're doing. And having a plurality of places that people can go and get services from is decidedly needed. New Orleans loves getting the tourist bucks from people from Decadence, but then when it comes to actually supplying and giving us services, it's like, yeah, we just want your tourist dollars. Come here and enjoy New Orleans, but we're not going to treat our GSM community great. So. Yeah, that's kind of what we're gearing towards. And in the future, we're hoping to actually hire a full-time driver. We have somebody that's stepped forward with a CDL license that will be doing dedicated rides to medical appointments.
I'm taking notes while you're talking. I'm not even kidding.
Yes, that is absolutely amazing work that you do. And honestly, you inspire me. You are somebody out there in your community making a difference, changing lives, having a direct impact on making the lives better for the people who are in your community and around you. And to me, that is the most beautiful thing we can do as human beings, is to help each other, is to just be there and be good people and to help each other and be kind. And so to me, that is amazing, and I love the work that you are doing. I can also speak that as our social media manager for Outright Libertarians, you are doing amazing work as a deputy director on our outreach committee, and I'm very proud to work beside you and work along with you and have you as part of our team. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do for the community and for Outright and for all of us.
See, now you know why I grabbed my tissue.
I don't like to talk about myself too much, but I suppose I should say a little bit.
You drag
Please
us
do.
into it. You got to do it too.
You don't brag enough about
Ashley,
yourself, and all of us
you
agree on
don't.
that. We all agree that you don't talk about yourself enough, but it's almost like none of us do, and that's why we're all here. So,
That is part of it.
Point.
So,
Ashley,
Good
talk
point.
about yourself. I want to hear what you're doing.
yes. So, what do I do? My name is Ashley Shade. I am the chairwoman of Outright Libertarians, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to bridging the gap between the GSM, gender and sexual minorities, or LGBTQ community, and the Libertarian Party. And we use the acronym GSM because it is more inclusive. Gender and sexual minorities covers everybody without having to add more letters. It's easier. It includes everybody. That's the acronym we use. And the work we do there is amazing. We build out to our community. We represent GSM issues and ideas within our party and ensure that GSM people are seen and heard and visible, and that we always have our GSM community, the issues that affect the community at the forefront of what's happening in the Libertarian Party. And thank you, Desiree, of course. So, as chairwoman of Outright Libertarians, I get to help represent the GSM community and be a leader in this organization. I love the work I do. I have an amazing board and group of people that I work with, and we are out there changing the way people see LGBTQ people in our party. I am also a candidate for local office running for North Adams City Council. I am running for city council for the second time in my life. I ran 4 years ago in 2017 before I joined the party. And back then, I didn't have a team. I didn't have a budget. I didn't have a website even. And I got 700 votes in a race where I needed 1,650 to win a seat on the council. And so this time we've come out heavy and hard. We have a website, ashleyshade.com. We have our social media up and running. We have a great team put together. We've already raised almost half of our fundraising goal, and we're just getting started. We take out our nomination papers on April 8th, and I'm looking forward to getting out there, petitioning, talking to the people in my community, and helping make a difference. I am also as of I think about 2 weeks ago now or so, as of the 20th, so 11 days, I am the chairwoman of the Massachusetts Libertarian Party, or the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts, as we're legally known as. And so I get to help influence and change politics here in Massachusetts and be a leader for the state party, helping to bring libertarian ideals and solutions to the people, to the masses, and do so in a way that people understand. My message is simple. Everything that I do is centered around compassion, education, and love. Everything that I work for, everything that I strive for, everything that I believe in is focused around that message of compassion, education, and love. And so to me, that is something that matters so much in our messaging as libertarians, because we believe in the fundamental principle that all people have an unalienable right to be who they are, to love who they love, and to live how they choose, so long as they're not hurting others, without fear or persecution. And we also believe that you shouldn't hurt other people or take their stuff. And so all people should have that right to live however they want to live and be who they want to be without interference from the government, without interference from their neighbors, without interference from their doctors, without interference from their society, so long as they are not hurting other people. And that is especially true for the transgender community. That is especially true for the LGBTQ community. It is true for every human being on this planet. And we will fight until every human being on this planet is able to live their lives peacefully and however they choose, as long as they're not hurting other people. I truly believe in that, and I believe that love is the way to do that. I believe that compassion and and talking to people and having conversations and being willing to listen. And that's what this panel is all about, this discussion this evening. It's about listening and hearing the stories of people. It's about learning something from these people. And then when it comes to libertarian ideas, it's about presenting them in a way that regular people will relate to. Remember, if our goal is to win elections and change the world and set people free, we can't do it by being jerks. We can't do it by being angry and upset and hateful. We do it by being compassionate. We do it by having conversations and telling people, you know what, I've heard your concerns. I understand. And I think I have a way to help you. And then we present our idea. And they may accept our idea, they may reject our idea. And that's okay. But we have to learn to be less confrontational with people when we're presenting our ideas. And so that is part of my message and part of what I'm trying to do to spread liberty. Uh, the tagline for my campaign is that love is the brightest flame of liberty. And I believe that love is how we bring people down the road of liberty. We use compassion and education as the tools that bring them to the road, and then we use that flame of love to light up the road and show them here's the end of the road, here's where liberty is, and here's where we can all be happy together in our society. Because if there's one thing that COVID has taught us, is that for some inexplicable reason, we as human beings, we need each other. We are not meant to be isolated and alone. We need each other. And it's so important that we are able to put our time together and our ideas together and live together in society and allow people to just live their lives and let them be. That's the world I want to live in. That's what I want to see happen. And I'm very excited to be a voice that has become a leader within our movement, and as somebody running a campaign based on this messaging. And hopefully, I will be elected this fall to office. I'm very involved in my local community. I'm a member of the Human Services Commission of North Adams, so I'm actually sworn into a position on the city. I also work at a working group that the City Council put together, teaching people about inclusivity, diversity, equity, and access. I'm very proud of that work as well, because here we are. We just finished our second session, actually, of this training program that we put together with our City Council members and our mayor. And we are teaching them how to better understand marginalized communities. We are teaching them how to think about, when I propose this legislation or pass this new law or pass this legislation, how does it affect other people? How does that affect people who aren't like me? And now we've got that question in their head, and now they're thinking about that. And that's such an important first step, right? So we're educating our community. We are working to make North Adams a place where everybody can grow and thrive. It doesn't have to just be one group. Everybody should be able to grow and thrive in their community. And so I could tell you about a lot of other things, but I don't want to. I will say that I've worked on a bunch of different campaigns, so all of the campaigns that I've worked on can give me a shout out at some point. I've worked with campaign manager for Mercy's campaign. I was a policy advisor for Spike Cohen. I was policy director for Vermin Supreme's presidential run. And I'm really proud of all the campaigns and work that I've been able to be a part of. God, it's in the double digits now at this point, so I can't remember every one of them. But it's an honor to be a part of that process of helping spread the message, being somebody visible in the trans community. And to me, again, compassion, education, and love is how we change a society. And so I want to pivot to the next question, because for me, again, that compassion, education, and love is the most important piece of what I do. And I want to ask all of you, how do you educate people in your community? How do you educate people online what is your go-to when you're talking about education around trans issues? And I'm actually going to jump to Mercy and have her jump on first on this one because we skipped her the last time. So Mercy,
I like being
what?
skipped. First of all, Ashley, you know this being my campaign manager. Hi. So, me personally, hold on. I'm going to talk. You're going to come on an adventure with me real quick. I know this is unprofessional, but I have the ADHDs. My meds have worn off. This is a stressful topic, and we're going on an adventure, guys. So, when I'm talking to people about this subject, this very, very subject, I'm going to tell you a story. And this happened at Christmas. Fina. I love Fina. She is my aloha sister. Aloha. So this one time, not at band camp, but at Christmas, my father is a Latino for Trump, and he tells me quite frequently he wishes I was raised differently. And I tell him to fuck off every time because that's what you do. And so my father at Christmas decided to talk about my sister, who is not his child, in a very disrespectful way. And I am very passionate. We're Latina. We like to yell. My family is hand-to-hand combat trained. We do MMA and stuff. So we really like to de-escalate things until we're passionate. When my dad yells at me about my sister being transgender and how it's a betrayal, had to not be triggered. So in this case, for everybody that gets triggered when people challenge your beliefs and who you are as a person because they don't think you should be, the way I start is bringing up is just it's meeting them where they are. Spike says it a lot. I say it a lot. These people, and I hate saying it like that because I feel like them when I say that, people like them don't know. That's why being compassionate and educational are so beneficial because when people's belief systems are challenged, they either fight or they run away. At this point, we're to the people that are going to just stand and fight. So we have to de-escalate the situation and meet them where they are. We have to understand where they're at. Unfortunately, for everyone I'm talking to right now that is like Ashley and I and Ari and Freya in Arizona, we know what this conversation is like. We know it. We can feel it right now. I don't even need to go any further, and I'm not going to because it wasn't a good conversation. And that's the only thing I can say is you have to meet them where they are. You have to remain calm. You have to be able to find out why they are triggered because they're triggered because their belief systems are challenged. We're triggered back because we don't understand why they have a problem with who we are as people. There should be no problem with who we are as people because we are people. Their opinion shouldn't matter. And that's the only thing I can say is that we have to be the bigger person. We can't fight back. We have to meet them and understand them and then know when we have to walk away because you got to remember what I said at the beginning. Can't argue with people John Brown would have shot, guys. We just got to know where our boundaries are and plant the seeds of change and let it grow. And when they come back because they trust us, because we didn't freak out on them, we let them be hateful at us like a wall. Like, go find a wall and talk at it. It's a good thing I've learned. The same thing happens when they're talking to us. We got to be walls. We got to just take it. We got to understand because we're the educators. We are the people who are making that bridge so that we can change things. And us being angry back is not going to help anything. And trust me, because I like to fight a lot. Okay? It's my favorite thing to do. So me being peaceful is like.
Thank you, Mercy. Arizona.
I love you guys.
Yeah, I'm going to echo a lot of what she just said, in that I also have ADHD, by the way, so I have a very hard time paying attention. But yeah, meeting people where they're at, trying to figure out what makes people tick, why they believe the things they do, approaching them with empathy and trying to you don't have to necessarily sympathize with somebody and be like, yeah, you're right. You can say, okay, I can see where you're coming from. I may disagree, but I can understand where you're coming from, and trying to understand their argument, and then try to address their concerns. Now, not everybody has valid concerns. Not all humans have rational concerns. That's why we had irrational fears, right? So there's a lot of the fear of the unknown, fear of things we don't understand, and that plays a lot into transgender issues and LGBT issues in general. Um, you have to kind of triage people and say, okay, I could spend an hour talking at this person, and they will not budge a single inch, and they won't understand anything I'm saying. Versus, I could spend the same amount of time, and I could convince 3 or 4 people over here that to reconsider their beliefs or even change them completely. And you have to be able to empathize with people, meet them where they're at, but you also have to be able to triage and figure out, okay, where's it best to put my effort? What some people I can't save, and I have to move on, and I have to work on somebody else. Or even if they can be saved, maybe it's not worth the effort if it's expending all this effort. Instead of saving these 4 people, I have to spend the extra time on this one person. And that's the way I approach this, is education and empathy.
I would just like to say, Caitlin, you are my spirit animal, and I love you so much. I know I don't get to say it enough, but girl,
Caitlin is awesome.
I love her so much.
She's all right.
Absolutely. Caitlin is one of my favorite people in this movement. I call her my small.
She's all right.
To me, she is incredibly small, and she is my sister, and I absolutely love Caitlin. Um, Freya, on to you. What do you think about education and its role in helping our community and in dealing with people?
I mean, that's one of the biggest things, and I kind of like I have a gift for reading people, and like with my business, I'm going around to bars all the time. I work on restaurant equipment, so I'm in bars and restaurants all the time, and you know in a rural area like this, it took a lot to learn to read people and see what they wanted to hear. Like, you can't push something on someone if they don't want to hear it. But if you start with something they want to hear, and you figure out what their problem is, or what they're confused on, or what they don't understand, and explain it in a way that they can understand, they all of a sudden they start thinking. And yeah, I mean, everyone's different, and there's so many different arguments that it's like you have to really read the people, and on an individual level, and see what it is that's not clicking with them, and if they're even open-minded, because we all know there's the ones that aren't even worth wasting your breath. But but you'd be surprised. I mean, there's a biker bar, not far from here. And when I came out, I did not expect that to go well when I started going in the biker bar. But I ride, so why not, right? But I went in there. I got a lot of weird looks the first time. People didn't know what to think. Started talking to the one guy. He was very quiet. They had this sign over the bathroom, over the men's room, that said, "This one, Caitlin." So I kept going back to the bar, like, once a week or so, and eventually met the owner. And I just didn't introduce, I just didn't say anything. Just like, here, I work on restaurant equipment. If there's anything I can help you out with, and it didn't take long, maybe a month. And next thing I know, this guy's, a good friend of mine, and he's taking that sign down and he's telling anyone that's giving me dirty looks to shut up or get out of his bar. You know, you, everyone's different, and can't you can't predict them. Just because it's a biker bar or a redneck bar doesn't mean everyone in there is an asshole. Um, you know, you just gotta go and talk to people and see what it is they don't understand, and let them see you. And some of them will have, some of them are intelligent enough for that, they're like, oh yeah, I want to know more.
Ari, your turn.
Hi. So I get to be last again, but that's fine. No, it's my way of dealing with people is coming to them on like everybody said, on their level. I ended up, this is just something recent for me, and it's been basically working with people, on their level. I ended up coming out to my mother in kind of not the greatest of ways, but through working with her on stuff that she enjoyed, like stuff with her faith, or even just simply being there as a human being, she started to be able to change the way that she reacted to me. She's still not perfect on stuff, but being present and being there and being a person and being accessible, to her and to other portions of my family has really been able to change people's minds. And yeah, I will completely agree with that, Orion. It's all about acceptance of differences. My mom is a traditionalist Catholic, and she has had an interesting time with this. Even some of the people that I know who are on another group that I'm with, shout out to Make America Dinner Again. I am the, handful of libertarians there, but I'm one of maybe 3 transgender people who are part of that. And just physically being there and talking about subjects. One of the ones that I like to be able to talk about specifically is about the issue with transgender youths, children and adolescents, and to be able to confront some of the misconceptions that people have. Like, no, we're not going to be recommending surgery. That's against standards of care. Or even in some of the advocacy work that I do with another non-for-profit that I work with, to be able to get people to talk about trans healthcare. And like, not everybody's going to be perfect. And we realize that. It's the effort that we love seeing. We have a commonality. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We're all people. We just want, the respect from others. And the best way to be able to educate, again, to repeat basically everybody, is just to be there. Just be human. Just be present.
Yep. All of this. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is absolutely incredible.
Especially accepting differences, because where I'm at, I have that buffer because I'm not transgender. I'm more accepted. So when I accept differences, it's offensive almost, because I love I'm going to say this right now, the honest truth, I love bigots, and not because they're bigots, but because they're people, and I understand where they're at, and I understand what they need to learn to come to where we are, because what we talked about is the way. What we talked about is not what they are talking about. They are not talking about this. We are. That makes us the bigger people, and that makes it really hard to love everybody, even when you do. I don't like people, but I love everybody. You can be a fucking idiot and I can still love you. Sorry.
Absolutely. And one way in on this one as well. I want to jump in on this, and in my experiences in dealing with people, when I see angry, terrible comments, I look at it as an opportunity to educate. And so somebody says some ignorant comment. There are two types of people when it comes to these issues. There are ignorant people and there are hateful people. The ignorant people are uneducated. They may not be trying purposely to be, harmful, or maybe they don't even realize that their views are harmful. But these are the type of people that we can reach with education and by showing our own humanity, by showing them that we are just regular human beings that, need to go to the bathroom and like to eat and drink and have a good time and be human beings and provide for our families and love our people. Um, when it comes to bigots and people who are generally hateful and angry and resentful, it's very difficult to engage with them. And it's a burden that it's not for everybody. Not everybody should have to engage with people who are downright hostile and terrible to them. I don't recommend most people doing it, and it's very difficult to have those kind of conversations with those types of people. What isn't so difficult, though, is if you see something like that on a common thread, we still want to educate, and here's why. That person that made that hateful, terrible comment is probably not going to be won over with education. They're probably, a little too far gone at that point, and maybe someday in the future they'll better understand, but today's not their day. But when we see those comments online and we say something and we stand up and educate, we don't know who else is reading those comments. And perhaps somebody else is looking through and seeing this hatefulness and they're like, oh, well, now we have people who are standing up to help others. Now we have people who are educating and learning something new about a subject that they didn't know much about. And maybe they might have agreed with us what somebody hateful was saying, but because they saw you respond with something kind and educational, you start to win people over that you never even knew you would win over. If that's been my experience in the Libertarian Party. I joined this party in the middle of 2018, and my first interaction with the party was to message our then chairman, Nicholas Sarwark. And I asked him straight up, I told him, I voted for a libertarian candidate in 2016. I consider myself a libertarian, but I haven't gotten involved in the party because I've seen people be hateful and resentful. Do transgender people, do people like me have a place here? And do we belong? And he unequivocally said, absolutely, we belong. Absolutely, you belong here. Absolutely, you are welcome. So I said to him, and I was never even expecting a response. I mean, this is the chairman of the third largest party in the United States. I didn't expect him to answer some random person messaging him on Facebook, but he did. And the next thing I said was, okay, if there's a place for us, if you can put out a public statement of support for the transgender community, that we belong here, I will immediately join the Libertarian Party. He put out this statement, and I immediately joined, and I've been a part of the national and my state party ever since. That's what it took to get me involved, with somebody confirming that I had a place here. So if you're out there, I want you to know that you do have a place here. And despite that people can be angry or toxic or hateful, I want you to know there's a lot of people who are not. And the majority of people do believe that every human being, including transgender people, including every marginalized community, people of color, immigrants, women, all people, all human beings deserve to live their lives how they choose and have a place here. And hello to our special guest who just ran away, Miss Cora. I love you, Cora. She's
Ashley,
adorable.
hey, Aunt Ashley said hi. I love you. You said bye earlier. Are you gonna say hi again? No, not on camera. She's ready for bed.
Yeah, fair. I understand. So, most libertarians believe in maximum freedom with maximum personal responsibility, which includes not being a dick about how others use their freedom. Thank you, Sarah. That is beautiful. Essentially, please don't be a dick. Just don't. I think I just saw the drum set. Did I just see the drum set?
This
The magic
is a libertarian thing that I'm not saying anything about.
You're welcome for the drum set, by the way. So again, this is a conversation that needs to be that needs to happen. It's a conversation that needs to continue happening, and I'm very proud that we're able to do that here. That we are able to bring people together and have this difficult conversation and bring awareness. I saw one question in the comments I want to bring up and give everybody an opportunity to answer. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for throwing this out here. What resources or organizations would you recommend for those who are questioning their identity? We'll go around the room real quick to answer this question, and we'll start with Ari.
This is what my foundation ends up doing is connecting people with these kinds of resources. And so PFLAG, Planned Parenthood, you can go to a host of different places. Kids actually have a little bit more resources, but my short list is there are some really great books out there that I highly recommend. One of them is from A Mighty Girl. They have a whole section of books just for questioning teens and children. And then PFLAG has a whole section. And my personal favorite book is actually from a trans man who's from Houston. It's called The Gender Book, and it goes through and changes every once in a while. It's a PDF as well as a hardback book that ends up talking specifically about gender and some of the different expressions of gender. But I will drop down in the comments below all of the different links that I end up having, and it runs the gamut, like I said, from children all the way up to adults. And the main focus that I've been having is teenagers and young adults as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Freya, what resources would you recommend?
That is not a question for me. I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, fair enough.
There is a Triversity down on the New York, New Jersey, PA state, triangle there. I've been down there. That's like, you gotta understand, when I came out, I never even met another trans person. I had no clue what I was doing. So I'm a libertarian. I went back channels through everything for meds and, but I mean, yeah, there is a place down there for, anyone in New York, New Jersey, PA, tri-state area, called Triversity. I've been there a few times,
Excellent. Thank you. Arizona?
Some of the big ones, online that you can get to are the Trevor Project, PFLAG. You can go also, like, if you're libertarian specifically, Outright's a great place to go and meet other people that are in the transgender community. And I think even without, like, say, any kind of organization, if you know somebody personally that's trans and you're feeling that, oh, I might be trans, or I don't know quite what to think, I'm confused, talk to them. That's how I came out. I talked to another trans individual that I knew, and that helped me immensely, and that helped me sort a lot of stuff out. And I think that's a pretty great route to go.
Absolutely. And Mercy, any that you'd like to throw in there?
So if you are questioning your sexual identity and need somebody safe to talk to, you may message me. That's for. Thank you, Rooster. Okay, yes. Okay, thank you for your opinion. I appreciate you. Now, you may message me if you would like. I have all of the feel goods. I've been through this journey when my sister when my sister finally started to question her identity. See, look at that. See, you just saw me doing the thing in real time. It progresses fast. So when she decided that she was questioning who she was for real, she was a teenager. I was about puberty age. There was nobody. Yeah. Can you? Yes, yes. Adam loves you, Rooster. Thank you. So I'm breastfeeding too, by the way. That's why the camera went up. There wasn't a name for what she felt yet. Gender fluid was the closest thing that I knew about, and this was in 2008, 2007. Okay. Yes, you may. Okay, how about this? Yes, if you want to message my dogs, I do. Especially, I have an OnlyFans, and that's not just sexual. It's OnlyFans. It's pretty PG on my main page, but if you want videos of my dogs just talking to you, I will send you that. It is paid content. It's free content if you're Spike Cohen for the mixtape.
Okay.
I think I forgot about that, but that's the resources I have. Is in this area there aren't a lot except for Outright and P Flag and the mainstream ones that we know about, but I'm still taking notes because we don't have a community closet here. We're not progressive as quickly as we need to.
Absolutely. And I want to throw out some resources too that we kind of missed, some of the bigger ones. GLAAD, GLAAD, has a website with transgender guide and resources. Transequality.org and the National Center for Transgender Equality is a great resource. And of course, translifeline.org. If you need help, if you need assistance, please always reach out. Trans Lifeline is a great organization as well that provides resources and tools. Here in my county where I live, in Massachusetts specifically, Fenway Health is one of the leading healthcare organizations in the United States when it comes to transgender healthcare out near Boston. We also have in my area several organizations that are LGBTQ trans friendly, including Berkshire Trans Group, the Berkshire Stonewall Community Coalition, which is a nonprofit organization that I'm on the board of. And so we are able to provide those resources as well, along with the local Elizabeth Freeman Center. And there are a lot of resources out there in a lot of communities that you can't find, but start with the bigger sites and then work your way down. Google is a great resource, but also feel free to reach out and talk to any of us. Definitely me. I'm always willing to have these conversations, and I probably talk to somebody who's coming out or has questions about coming out once a week at this point. So I'm always happy to have that conversation and help people along and provide that resource and support that they need, because everybody here is valid and everybody deserves to be seen and loved and everyone deserves to be visible. I want to go around and just give everybody a chance to do final thoughts, final words for the evening before we wrap up. So Mercy, last words.
Thank you for being here today. I'm sorry that my life is such a circus, but I'm glad I'm entertaining, and I hope you learned something tonight, kids.
Thank you for being here.
Remember, change starts with you, darlings. And if you see a problem, the best advocate for you is you. And This is the way. Be lovable and try to meet people where they are. And if you can't, walk away. And you don't owe anybody an explanation unless you love them and you feel like you need to give it to them. That's it.
That's
You
right.
go look up Eleanor Roosevelt and what she said about people making you feel inferior about yourselves. And Rooster, Nemi, Sophocles, and Cora for side support roles in this
Yes.
production.
Thank you so much, Mercy.
I'm just going to get
Arizona,
weirder until you take me off.
Arizona, last words?
First of all, I just want to let Mercy know that the Spike Cohen mixtape, I personally destroyed that, so you guys are never going to find it. And after that, we're going to put that aside. I just want to say, check out Spike Cohen, check out Vermin Supreme, the Vermin Supreme Institute. We got plenty of great educational content planned, and check out Outright. And that's what I got to say.
Thank you, Freya.
Just want to say, yeah, if you're trans, be out there. Let people see you. The more they see you, the more they see us, the more they have to accept us.
Absolutely.
And be safe about it.
That's right.
Don't do stupid crap like me.
Ari?
Gender is a social construct, biology is weird, and you are the power.
Absolutely. And I just want to say again, thank you to all of you for participating, all of you who watched, who joined in. I am a proud member and chair of Outright Libertarians. I am a proud member of the Vermin Supreme Institute Council, and I am so glad to have this event sponsored by Outright Libertarians and the Vermin Supreme Institute. Thank you, Vermin Supreme, for allowing us to stream this on your channel and supporting the transgender community. We love you. I want to say thank you again to everyone. And I want to close with this. If you're out there and you're listening to this, I want you to know that you are valid, that you are amazing, that we see you and we hear you and we love you. You are loved and you deserve love and you deserve dignity and respect and you deserve for your humanity to be recognized and accepted. And so I love you all. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember that through compassion, education, and love, we can truly change the world and become a place and a society where we can all grow and prosper together. My name is Ashley Shade. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Join us at outrightusa.com. Join us on Outright Libertarians on social media. Join the VSI Institute. Take a look at our pages. Take a look at ashleyshade.com, my campaign page, if you want to learn more about what I'm doing there. And join us for the next round of events. We love talking with you. Thank you all again so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Facebook. Bye, YouTube.
And bye, Twitter.